This is I Have No Title and I Must Podcast Movie Reviews, where we review new movies as well as give our take on old movies. We are your hosts, Tyler
and Chris.
And today we're reviewing Wes Anderson's Asteroid City. And this movie is kind of a production within a production. It is a fake televised production of a fake play intercut with the fake life and making of the play within the movie. And the play itself is about these family who's there with their kids in this asteroid city, which is being very loose with the name because it's little more than a diner, a garage, and a research facility, and some lodgings. The families are there with their kids because they're the junior stargazers, and they're there to present their science projects as well as potentially win a scholarship when alien life shows up in the middle of their demonstrations and everyone is thrown into quarantine. So this movie, I really enjoyed it, but maybe a hard recommendation for people if you're not already a fan of Wes Anderson. Although I will have to say, visually, I love how the movie was presented. It is set in the 1950s, like America, and it very much feels like an old 1950s like poster ad, and sometimes like even feels like an old Wile E. Coyote cartoon.
I didn't like it the first time I saw it because I was treating it like a puzzle, and that can hinder a person's. I didn't know that it was going to be a puzzle. I love Wes Anderson's work. This is the sort of film that I think you have to see more than once. I cannot tell you to go see this film and then get so wrapped into it that you have to go back and see it more than once or purchase it somewhere and take it home and continue to dissect it. There's a lot to be had from this. It's layer upon layer. You're not given all the answers to what is presented in front of you. There are even questions asked by the cast members playing the cast members that aren't really answered. Even the philosophical points aren't answered within the film, and they're not necessarily answered outside the film either. Wes Anderson's pretty forthcoming. He's not as inscrutable as some other directors who don't want to give you anything, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed it for what it was, just a weird film. But anyway, it's a Wes Anderson film. Initially, I felt, is it him getting swallowed in on himself? And I think it is it's what he wrote during the pandemic. The pandemic and the quarantining had a huge impact on this. The one thing he did say is, in that regard, is the quarantine aspect would definitely not have been in there if they had not been in quarantine when they were, or had not been in quarantine, past tense, one of the two, as they were writing. So, which Scarlett Johansson said she got the call during quarantine. So she said it was something to look forward to when all this was over. And one of the cast members wasn't able to participate because he had gotten COVID at the time. That's just how serious everything still was at the time. So it is a hard sell. And we're reviewing movies. We're not selling them. Yeah. So this is us being honest with you. If we think we're going to give you, because we went pretty easy on some films recently, it's not always the case. We're here to be honest with you. And also just to say, our opinions can change over time. I think the more you see a film or set with it, like when I saw X-Men 3, I think that's a quintessential thing to say. I was just excited to see a new film with Ian McKellen playing Magneto. Now, I hate that film, and it is really hard to think about, much less think about going back and watching portions of it, much less going back and watching the whole thing. So if you like Wes Anderson, for some reason you've seen some bad reviews, because there are a lot of them, people, I think, intentionally not understanding it, or they're just not fans of Wes Anderson, but they run a YouTube channel, so you gotta see every movie. We're not necessarily in this to make the big bucks. We're here to be honest with you.
With all that being said, we got the usual cast and crew for Wes Anderson films and a pretty solid performance from everybody involved.
You got any favorites?
Like, of his characters or from this movie specifically?
From his cast of actors that he generally has.
Jason Schwartzman.
Jason Schwartzman's one of my favorite actors, and I don't see him in a lot of other things that isn't at Wes Anderson's. He was in Scott Pilgrim and was amazing in that. Jeffrey Wright is one of my favorite actors. Yeah, and also Scarlett Johansson. It's like she was made to be in a Wes Anderson film. There's just certain actors, it's like they can do acting, but they have a certain deadpan delivery sometimes that's just made for indie films.
Yes, everyone like knows her from like the Avengers, but I have loved her in like everything I've seen outside of that. She was fantastic in this movie. She was fantastic in Jojo Rabbit.
Oh God, yeah. She knocked it out of the park in Jojo Rabbit. Oh, Willem Dafoe, who's an extremely small role in this. Even some of the actors didn't know he was in it because it's all totally separate, one of the separate layers from the main movie that's being presented. So when they're having dinner with him, they're like, oh my God, Willem Dafoe's here? Willem Dafoe's in this? But Willem Dafoe is always excellent.
And I'll also say my description at the start might have been hard to follow, but I don't think the movie is, because there's like a clear delineation between what is the portrayal of the play and then what is everything else.
Yeah, they tell you what you're looking at. They kind of there's even a host / narrator for one of the layers.
I mean, like even the color palette. One is bright, colorful, like I said, looks like an advertisement, and the other one is stark black and white.
Yeah, the kind of bright that I was worried would hurt my eyes. It didn't, but I was concerned about that. And if you're a cinephile, go see it. Be part of the discussion, because everybody's talking about it one way or another. I'm interested to see. I just like cinema. I really do. So that's why I like this film, and I'm going to be buying it as soon as I can, because I think we saw the last showing here in Kentucky at least. There's going to be, I don't know where it's playing now, because actually I don't think we can even recommend for you to go see it, because it's probably not playing anywhere anymore. So you'll have to wait for when it will be released digitally or on DVD or what have you. Some people are saying they're going to wait for the Criterion, but they haven't done Criterion for the Isle of Dogs or French Dispatch yet, so it could be 5+ years.
So that might be an easier sell for people, though. It's like, hey, if you're kind of, I don't know how I feel about this movie. Well, since it's coming out so late with this review, and you probably can't see it because we had to go out of our way a little bit to see it, you can just get a group of people together, split the difference on a rental.
Yeah, so one thing I will say, I will recommend, if you do that, watch it with a group of friends or watch it by yourself. There is an intermission recommended. Take that intermission, pause it for a few minutes, go pee, get yourself another drink or snack, but watch this movie in one go. Don't split it up other than that. If you can watch it in one go, it's not like a 3-hour slog with a 15-minute sex scene. Do we get Scarlett Johansson's nude scene? Who can say? But that's just do watch the film. That's all. I always just recommend watch more movies. They're fun.
Especially if you're a fan of Wes Anderson and you've not seen it yet. Watch it.
Yeah.
If you're not a fan, maybe watch some of his earlier stuff and circle back. We give a recommendation in our Wes Anderson video, so definitely also give that a watch. And you don't have to overthink it. Just watch it and enjoy it. With that being said, we're going to overthink it. We're coming out with a deep dive on this movie. Keep an eye out for that. And yeah, my final thoughts, pretty much that. Give it a shot, especially if you're a fan. If not, maybe give it a shot anyway. You'll never know. Maybe you'll find something new. Final thoughts?
Nope.
All right. And with that, if you've made it this far, thank you. Let us know. Do you plan on seeing this when it comes out and is available? Have you already seen it? What have you thought about it? Check out our social media. Links will be in the description. And until next time, see you.